Okay, what I'm trying to do, see how this works. Hi, people! What's going on? Hey, Dave here. I'm up. I'm live, doing a little bit of something here. What we're trying to do is give you guys an idea of what's going on during these one-a-days that we are talking about. Um, just make this kind of quick. Apologies for not being this Wednesday. Um, Wednesday we had a little bit of a situation where, well, let's just say it was some family matters, and we'll leave it at that. But I'm live now. We're here talking. I'm sorry, I just blew this into here because it's gonna try to make this a little necessarily have to, but I'm doing it anyway. Um, Hopefully you can hear me because the thing is saying it can hear me. I actually should stop and just see if you can hear me. But whatever the case may be. Um, so basically, these one a days, something we've done with before, something we've messed with. All it really has to do with is trying to be a force multiplier for people. Trying to get your ideas out there, trying to hopefully get other people's ideas out there. It's kind of comes stems from a time before there was the internet, in which case you had videos. No, not before there were books, but before there were videos. So you could go and say find other ideas, other tech, other planes in general. We ain't talking about stealing planes. We just talking about trying to make sure that say you were getting your money's worth of like the designs you were trying to make yourself and seeing what other people did with those cutting flaps, cutting sides, STEs, whatever. This case, what you're doing is, and everybody's got different ideas, but in this case, what you're doing is, it's kind of a gentleman's agreement, but for a year, you're just literally going to build one plane a day. Um, One plane. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be one of the planes you trust, you know well. Could be an experimental plane you've never built before, a brand new design. It could be somebody else's plane. Just so long as you spend your 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever, building something. Um, Again, it's basically so that you have you end up with a force, you end up with a trusted force, or you end up with just something extra, some new idea. Um, Ideally, what you're probably trying to do is if there's a plane you haven't learned well enough about, say you have a brand new design you came out with, you're not, maybe you built it 3 months to 3 years ago, you forgot it. Okay, now would be the time to open that puppy up and then spend the next 30 days building one of each of them so you just ingrain it into yourself. Or, I mean, if you're really sweating it, you could just like, okay, I'm just going to build this one design this day, next time, next day, and just keep going until you build all your designs. That doesn't necessarily, of course, mean I'm sticking with it. It just necessarily means you're just trying to, you know, learn something new about yourself and about the plane you designed. Kind of rambling on that, but I mean, like, basically, it's up to you how you use these one a days. If you want to go with the first, if you want to go, or your first time design, if you want to go with something brand new, if you want to go with something tried and true, it doesn't matter. Know that you're going to end up with 365 planes at the end of this year's time. So if you decide to build one plane, one type of plane the rest of the year, we kind of feel that's a cop out. We kind of feel like you're just trying to get it over with. Then again, maybe you feel differently. Maybe that's how you wanted to use it because you just wanted to, like, I want 300 planes of this type. So be it. And needless to say, of course, you don't have to build one plane every day. You can build more. But you have to build the one. The key is you have to build the one. Just anybody can build hardly any, but you have to build the one a day. We're trying to stick to that rule. Um, Even if, again, 300 planes, each one is a different tech. Totally up to you. I know I plan myself to probably, and I think NASA's is going to do kind of like something similar, where they're going to dedicate like a month to a design and either just build up the numbers or spend a week building the numbers, get 7 planes, and then tech it the rest of the month so that it tries something new on each plane. Holes, STEs, couple, rifle, anything. I mean, wolves, Pisces, whatever. We have a lot of tech. I like trying to make some cool name for it. It's kind of my thing. Um, but we do have a tech sheet. If any of you out there are interested in joining up and trying this out, we have a tech sheet. We'll share this, make it available because we highly think that this is something you should try to do. I mean, just to further your designs along. If you've got one of your own, again, tried and true, and maybe you're kind of stalling on it or it sucks. It just plain sucks. You don't want it to be. It's not doing what you want it to do. Try something of ours on. Put it on there. A lot of us have good ideas. I mean, this may be a good time to taper it. This may be a good time to put some canards on it. This may be a good time to put little wing strakes on the back of it, or just a simple STE if you've got a straight back wing and a back end trailing edge, what have you. And again, this was going to start 4 days ago, 3 days ago, September 1st, new year. This is the new school year's school year 21. We kind of failed on that due to these family issues, but we will start this October 1st. It doesn't really require much prep work. We like to say we're prepping for it, and in some ways you can, because if there are some of us who have 400 planes sitting around doing absolutely nothing, it might be a good time to start weeding that stuff out in preps for having 300 brand new ones. Um, it's hard. Like if you've been in the game a long time, it's hard to let go of some of your great flyers, and you don't have to burn them or destroy them. You could send them to what I call the Palace, which is again paper aircraft long-term active storage. I like to reiterate that because it's active. You could bring it back to what I do with those is I take the tape off. It would be like cutting the tape off the nose. This is a basic phase 3. I would literally just cut the tape off the nose right here and fold it completely flat. All the winglets off, fuselage wings off, keel off. Fold it, store it, probably put it in plastic, and then put it in a box. No sun, no rain, no wind, no nothing that would help age it. So if I do decide to bring it back, I can. Sometimes you take notes on them too. You can take notes of your own. I like to do that myself because you want to have, I mean, like, that, like, hey, I only need to tape back on here. These need to be folded at 45 degrees. These need to be folded at 90 degrees, so on and so forth. That's basically all you're doing, just to make sure. Any basic notes. Other complex designs you may need more notes for. Others you might not need to put any notes for. I mean, as long as you know your bird that's going in there. But again, that's the purpose of the Palace. The pad, which you might have also heard to talk about, paper aircraft awaiting destruction. Also pretty much self-explanatory. Those I typically do not fold down. They're stored like so, whereas you can basically go into the box and fly them the way they are. Awaiting disposal. It's not necessarily destruction. We almost always call it destruction because 90% of the planes that go in there usually get burned, get destroyed, or get treated as drones, so they get shot down or shot at by other birds. Again, totally up to you how you use it. Just recommend that these are good places to keep them. Old ones that are on their way out, and designs that you never tested, or they tested, they sucked. Good place to put them in the pad. You don't want them in the Palace. I mean, but you make your own distinction as to whether or not they're going to go in something like that. Something you want them stored for a long time because it had personal sentimental value. This plane flew really good. All of my good flyers go to the Palace. And typically your number one or your prototypes, if it wasn't really like your number one, but it was something that led to your number one. I've got a couple of those myself. The Vampires are a good example of that. There was a plane that totally doesn't look like what my current Vampire is. It sits in the Palace now, along with number 1 through 3 of the Vampires. But again, these are what this is for. You could whittle it down so that you're prepped to have these new ones, and you don't have to worry about like, hey, I've got this brand new bird. God, I already got 300 planes. Do I need 300 more? But what that also I'm alluding to on that is you do not need to make them flight worthy. We considered it a long time ago, especially for those of you that may just lack room for whatever reason or lack the social skills. I mean, you can't just have somebody come into your house and say like, dude, What's with all the fucking paper planes? Um, yeah. Uh, okay, so you don't need them around. You don't want them. I mean, sure, they could make a great conversation piece to a 5-year-old, but maybe not. I don't know. But the case may be, if you don't want them hanging around, bodies are acceptable. Um, and we do suggest you prep a pry fly box. Uh, Again, in IVPAC here, we consider a plane ready to be coated and combat ready to be used once it's formed, like your basic folds here form your leading edge, your trailing edge, and you know where your plane's wings and hedrals, winglets, anything like that is going to go on, any tech. So basically, once it's broken down to you've got the wing folds, the wing pockets, leading edge form, trailing edge form, you can code it. You date code it. You put your letter code, has it comprising to what design style it is. This is a Wyvern, so it'll have an R code. My personal R code, just a letter because it's that design accepted. Um, and I would give it a number. In this one's case, it's R26. So um, sequential, but so you know what date it was built. And as I stress to those of you in IVPAC, use a calendar to make like a flight log, or in some case you can just use this to not make a flight log, but a build log, as it were. You can take notes on the plane. I mean, it is a piece of paper, but sometimes you don't like writing on them, especially if you get far enough into it where you design the whole thing and there's stress on the wings, and you're like, oh crap, I need to put down that they need to stay at 35 degrees to make the winglets work. You flip it over, you can write on the underside of the wing. That's usually the most popular thing to do for us. But the calendar comes in handy. There is an IVPAC calendar. I stress everybody should try to use if you can. To take notes, the flight log, as it were. If you fly, if you build, I mean, yeah, I usually myself, I use it for flights. I need to write up today because I had Cirrus go out today. Pretty good flights. Um, but it's also good to put your builds on there. It's good to take massive notes on there. I mean, if you have a pretty big library of planes to keep track of, I'm looking at you, OAE. But me too. If you've got a lot of planes to take care of, it's good to look at the calendar and go back at every once in a while, maybe even annually. I should probably do this myself. Keep track of where you're at, because sometimes I get too busy building into bodybuilding or even flight building at work, for example, or at school if you're still in there. Um, you get into it, you build, and lo and behold, you might like I don't have my numbers handy on me at all times, and maybe that could be a bad thing. But if you do have track of your numbers, you could go ahead and code them and know this. Like I can know this is R26. You know this is number 3. You know this is number 300. If you don't, the calendar can do that for you. Like dedicate one day each day. April 15th, tax day. Oh, I need to audit my planes and find out that I am at number 365 of this one and 110 of this one and 790 of this one, so on and so forth. Um, these are things that I highly suggest you use with the calendar. Um, Not required, but I mean, we're military, ex-military, we're in an organization, so these are things that help out. Um, but you walk your own path. It doesn't really matter. We're not saying like, yeah, you must do this. It's just recommended. I mean, as long as you keep notes, hell, if you keep track of your numbers, bravo on you. I can't ever do it. I ain't even shy to admit it. I would have to number half my planes right now because I just don't know where I'm at. I do have little post-it notes because I do audit myself every once in a while. It's like so I do know where some of them are, but others, oh, good luck. Like I have no idea how many Cirrus I have. The one I flew today, well, I built at work, so I wouldn't know. But it's going to take me probably the rest of this month during this prep period to figure out where I'm at. Again, on you guys. Sorry I didn't take no video or pics of the flights today. Should have, didn't. It was very pretty. It was a pretty day, pretty flights. Yeah, another one of those times missed out. But whatever. So the one a days, like I said, obviously it's a gentleman's agreement. We assume that you're going to do it. If you're going to code them with the day that they're built, you and we will know, of course, that you built one each day. So, the one that gets built October 1st, hey, look, it got built October 1st. Woo! Um, but it's totally up to you if you do it. We're not obviously holding it to you because some of y'all will never know except when we actually go back and look at the codes. But also see it as kind of only a way of hurting yourself if you don't. I mean, if you're trying to find something, if you're trying to find a design that works, if you're trying to borrow the tech from somebody else, you're going to get it only by building them yourself. If there's a plane you've lost through time, okay, man, build this thing. You'll get used to building it. I have to do that with actually none of them. I'm pretty good. Oh, wait, I shouldn't say that. Quill. I may dedicate my first month to Quill because, man, I can never remember how to build that puppy. I have 17 quills. I mean, it is my Hatro trainer. Uh, don't need that many of it because of what it is, what it does. But hey, I need to know how to build a puppy. So yeah, I'm probably gonna put that one up there right away, first thing, and then I'm gonna go to the tech or something. I don't know. To each your own. But just giving you examples of how you could start out. Maybe there's somebody's. Maybe you're excited about starting somebody else's tech right away. Get into that. Maybe there's something you haven't built that everybody's talked about. This mega ultra hyper delta thing that's like 4 feet wide. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see how I'm going to build that over the course of one day, maybe the whole day, but whatever. Um, and it's up to you how you annotate. Um, I think some people were mentioning they may record this for posterity, which in a way is good. You go back and see like, hey, I knew how to build this thing. Um, Venom is a prime example of that. Boy, I wish I had a picture of Venom. At least I'd have an idea. All I've got is my mind, my fuzzy memory of how that thing used to be built. But alas, I get to throw back on Venom NG, and I know it's close to what I had. Um, you are the only one who could dictate whether or not you have altered, built, and consecutively made the same plane or a different plane when you build them. You're your own designer and analyst. So if you look at it and the design looks like it, it's like, hey, that's a phase three. Hey, that's an exile. Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. Um, but if you built it a different way to get to the exact same result, I like to take that as an opportunity to say that about even current planes, real aircraft in the current day. Um, a lot of people say that the Chinese have outright stolen stuff, and maybe they have. But who cares? I mean, like, dude, if you, I mean, if you think that your design was made in a way that was made it different because of some little minute tweak somewhere down the line or a minute tweak after the fact, I mean, that makes it yours. That's like your little signature thing. You know, I don't know. We kind of frown upon it, but by the same token, it's like, well, I mean, you could make it better. I'm interested to know how you made it better. I don't. I mean, we treat it like an air force, so we kind of like to think that there's like an enemy out there. But I personally, I have been in a war, but it's not. It's really not like something. We're not trying to make these in secret. I like to share the ideas and see if anybody. I'd love for you to build my planes and then say like, "Wow, look at the flight I got with this thing. It flew like 300 yards away." Oh, that's cool. I want to know how you did that. How did you do that? I'd really like to know how you did that. Um, was it my design that made it that way, or was it your tweaks of the design that made it that way? Let me know. I'll try to duplicate it on mine. It's stuff like that though. And again, that's what this is for. So we're hoping that you guys come up with some new stuff that we could use. I would like to be able to, just get these ideas from you, share my ideas with you, and build more of the aircraft that we have that we like. It doesn't really matter. Um, if I build one of your designs, if you build one of my designs, and hey, oh my God, it looks just like such and such. That's cool, but maybe you did something different. And if you do a video of it, I get to watch you do it, and maybe I get to try it. I'm all for that. Uh, Flights. We're not so worried about flights. Boy, I would like it if you could fly every day, but most people don't live in a place where you can fly every day. And most people have what we call lives. Um, yeah, it doesn't take much to build. It doesn't take much to fly, other than cooperative weather and some time. Um, I know you've heard us joke about this before, like a 15-second plane. Okay, this is the ultimate cop out. don't think anybody is going to resort to building a 15-second plane on one of their days. NASA's, I'm looking back at you at this one. Um, hey, KIA, maybe you too. I don't know. But just saying, like, do 15-second plane. Yeah, you can. It's kind of a joke amongst us that we could build a plane in 15 seconds because you really could. You can build a plane in 10 seconds. It's going to be ugly, stupid, and malformed. And if any of you guys have actually taken the time to make any kind of plane that means something to you, you're going to need more than 10 seconds. You're going to need more than like 10 minutes sometimes. But um, more on that later. But all I'm trying to say is like a 15-second plane is definitely a cop out, but we're not holding anybody to that kind of rule. This is a gentleman's agreement. Only you could stifle yourself if you don't do it that way. Hell, I might make a 15-second plane for old time's sake, but technically speaking, I'm not going to count it as my one a day. So there's that. Um, and like it is kind of holding us as to like that excuse of like really if you're not doing something like where you're sitting down for like 30 minutes to make a plane that's got, okay, this thing's been outside, so this is a vampire. It's seen better days. It probably needs to be retired or destroyed. But this one is pretty advanced as far as vampire goes. I got a lot of tech on this thing, and this would take some time to build. Like, it's got stepped, upright dihedrals. Actually, I call them bihedrals on the vampire because the vampire has two sets. Um, you see, it has the DFRWs. It has steps in the dihedral part of the anhedral. The anhedrals are, well, they're a little bit pointedly formed, and the trailing edge of the anhedral extends here so that the dihedral starts in a different section. It's not a perfect line. These are in further than these are out further. It's a lot of tech for the vampire. This took more time. This took more time than this. So again, it's all about. I mean, you can make it coincide in like if you know you got a year's time and you've got your day, you can plot out your day. You know, like, hey man, I've got 3 hours set aside. I'm gonna tweak the hell out of this one and just build this. Okay, but maybe you only have like 5 minutes and you're gonna have to sneak it in somewhere. And oh crap, I might not have a piece of paper. Well, find one. I'm not saying that, but just remember you got midnight to midnight. You could get something in there sometime. Chances are you're going to be around a sheet of paper. No, you don't need tape. No, you don't need a stapler. You just need to be able to make the folds. So, if it's something, you know, you don't have to make one of your tried and trues. You just make something that is out there. You don't have to make something like this. This did take hours. I think you guys watched me build this. It probably took about at least 2 hours. That's not recommended. But anyway, the point is, though, is like, again, gentleman's agreement, up to you what you build. Just get them out there, people. That's all we're saying. Get something out there. Show us some ideas. We're looking forward to sharing ideas with you. Maybe I'll figure out how to build Venom again. I'm going on this for like the 10th year in a row. I don't know. I'm not thinking about dedicating a month to each cell aircraft. But who knows, I just might. I'm kind of looking for something new. I've got a new design I'm kind of working with. I, once again, didn't bring it in here even though, or down here, rather. It's in here, it's not down here. I did remember to bring them, but I am a putz. So it's upstairs. I'm not going to get it. It's actually it. I say it because there's like 3 different options. But whatever the case may be, I've got like 1 to 2 to 3 of them. They'll be showcased later. And ideas, of course. Like I said, we're looking for all kinds of new ideas, and some ideas aren't new; they're old, but they've never been tried for whatever reason. Something as simple as gluing and taping is considered a tech and is considered an idea, especially when you haven't used it before. I mean, if all you simply did is fold, and it's supposed to be like this one's completely free, whereas this one's got a taped nose. I mean, that tape on this nose, especially if this one's flown, that's a tech. If this one's flown, it works this way. This goes for all you guys' planes out there. If you got a plane that flies free, like this all the time and you decide to tape it one time, that is a tech because it's not something you did. So it's something new. I mean, yeah, it's a stupid way of calling it a tech, but it's not like we're going to be able to put computers and crap on these things. So, you got to go with what you have. They're paper, people. Let's get with it. Um, just remember, we're dealing with some simple stuff here. So, okay, we tape it. Woohoo! Taped it. Yay! Free flyers. Free flyers get the most stuff added, or ability to have stuff added to them. I mean, just to put anything on here, or you could take some stuff away. Um, there ain't too many instances of us taking stuff away, but you know, it's not. I don't recommend. Also, while you're doing this, I don't recommend like, well, too of your comfort zone, like creating something too wild, even though you're probably going to be able to build multiple versions of it. Um, it's just a personal recommendation because again, building that 4 foot wingspan kind of plane, if it's out of your comfort zone, I wouldn't try it right now. Try it some other time. Um, why? Because I mean, let me just say this. Why? Because like you just don't know if the plane is going like you want a day. If you're not going to be, you almost ought to do it on a show. You almost ought to do it live. You almost ought to do it when you have the video in front of you, so you know exactly how you're doing it. And you might need somebody like OAE's help. So I mean, in your one a days, yeah, it might be a good time to do it, but it's like this is kind of a. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's a special thing, and it's a special time, and you should spend that time alone with your thoughts. No, but like again, it's each its own. If you're going to be doing, you spend the time on the video, do it with the video, and you like going along with instructables, whatever the case may be. I don't know. Maybe I'm just saying that to say that because like really, you could probably take the time out to do it wherever. But I mean, obviously, if you're going to be doing like, oh man, I'm running out of time in the day and I got to sneak one in at work, well, hell, you can't be dedicating that time to the 4 foot plane, can you? Um, hey, do whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just taking up time. Do whatever. Um, I actually hope to see like maybe what we'll do is like obviously during the show for the next year we'll be coming along with the updates on you and like Wednesday is like so how many have you built this so far the week? Obviously it should be 7, but or it could be 6 because you're waiting for the show to do another one. But um, like we'll do updates, see where we're at, see what we've built, see what the tech is. Some of us will probably be like live video during the designing maybe. So look at Sill's page, look at Ness's page. Okay, maybe Missile maybe. I don't. You'll see some things, learn some things hopefully, and hopefully some new designs will come out of this. I'm apparently turning this into a complete one a day show. Didn't really want to do that, but then again, I'm rambling, so this is turning into a show about that. Questions or comments I'll be taking later when nobody cares.